My name is Dan Dorval, and I'm President and CEO of Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. I am an independent certified financial planner and author of my book, Financial Success for the Rest of Us, Reality-Based Financial Planning for Mainstream America.
Hi, my name is Leah Woodley. I'm an associate financial advisor with Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. Our conversations discuss what it means to do quality of life planning in all areas of your life. We're going to get into part two of our discussion from last week.
And one of the catch 22 type of things that we end up dealing with is people don't know that
Mhm.
until they experience it.
Yes.
So how do you get an employer or an association that says, hey, we realize that our employees or our members are struggling with some of these financial issues, but they don't know the difference between what we're describing and maybe like what their custodian provides or just generic basic type things that are out there. And so then they experience it, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, this light bulb turns on and they go, okay, I see the value. But they don't see the value before they experience the value.
Right.
So why don't you talk a little bit about, if an employer, so let's say somebody's watching this, maybe they
Mhm.
work for a large employer, or even if it's a decision maker at a large employer, how can they experience what we do through our pilot program? How can they do that and get a sense of how it really works in the real world?
Yeah, we're actually offering a 3-month pilot program. So we're taking on all the costs to provide one on one financial planning and access to Quala um, to employees. An employer would have to do is just contact us. We have a contact form on our website. They could send us an email, and I'll put a link to my email address in the description box below. But for 3 months, you will get to allow your employees to experience exactly what we do. We're not like Fidelity or Vanguard or any other custodian who only focuses on the 401k plan or 403b, any type of retirement plan that is being offered. We look at the totality of your employee's picture. So if your employee has kids and they're focused on college planning right now, we discuss that. They want to buy a home, we discuss that. It's a multitude of puzzle pieces that we cover to look at the entirety of your employee's picture. Not only that, the AI application that we developed called Quala is priceless. They will have access to actionable advice right at their fingertips. It also provides a wealth of knowledge. We have a lot of content in there for those that just want financial education. And this advice that we're providing is specific to their unique situation. They go through an interview process, so we know what they are trying to achieve. We know their current financial position, and we're able to provide advice that is unique to them. So at the end of this 3-month trial period, you will be able to evaluate the impact it has had on your organization and make a decision from there. So there's really no loss to an employer trying this out because we are incurring the fee.
And we can only do so many pilot programs at any given time. So if a health system reached out to us right now and said, we'd love to do this, we're going to do typically one of those at a time. And so then they can evaluate that, really no risk at all. And it's easy for us to do this because, we have so much faith in what we do. We've seen this work now for, decades. And so it's easy for us to say, okay, if you've never experienced this, you're not going to understand the value. Well, now we're going to show you, and you get to experience it, and then the value automatically comes through. So, we're the ones kind of putting our time and money and energy where our mouth is in really advocating for this type of a program.
And then I just want to bring up back in 2007, the EBSA working group on financial literacy actually put out a statement that said, in an ideal world, financial literacy could be customized to each plan participant's learning needs and desires. And then they went on to write, people want one-on-one help from a person who they can trust. Employees generally do not have the confidence to implement advice provided to them via online tools. And that is what we do. We provide that customized financial literacy, customized financial advice, that one-on-one help that employees are seeking. So we are even in alignment with what the EBSA put out.
And it's interesting you say that, because that reference, I ended up creating our group advisory agreement for Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation back in 2006, before the Department of Labor really was doing this evaluation and coming to these conclusions. And Hazel and Betty Ford, to give them a lot of credit, their their counsel, their legal counsel associated with their retirement plans was like, well, hold on a second. We've never seen this whole idea of like personalized advice from an independent certified financial planner. We've never seen this before. Maybe we shouldn't do this, because they want to do what all the other employers are doing. And we had a very influential person at Hazel and Betty Ford that said, what we're missing with our plans right now is Dan's group. We're missing that connection where the employee not only now gets to understand like how everything works with, they're very expensive. They had a very generous pension contribution. And so they were putting a lot of money in these retirement plans. Well, they weren't getting appreciation from their employees because they simply didn't even understand how it worked. And
Right.
so making that connection, after a year of doing it, they had all this feedback from all these people who met with us. And they're like, this is the most appreciated benefit that we have. And then after that, the EBSA, which is part of the Department of Labor, they went through this very deep dive evaluation of like what's missing out in the world of 401ks and 403bs and company sponsored retirement plans. And they said the missing piece is us.
Yeah.
And yet, that was done. Your quotes were from 2007. It's now 2024. And I would basically say that in those 17 years, that whole dynamic really hasn't changed. And it was because the EBSA actually ended up making the point inside of that evaluation where they said it would be too expensive and too difficult to be able to make this happen in a practical sense. And that's because they were only looking at like these big custodian type places that are impersonal, and there's no way they would be able to get down to that individual like 23, 24-year-old type level. And so what they didn't understand is that innovators like us would create an AI platform, would understand that once we're experts in this, employer plan, we don't have to relearn this stuff over and over and over, which is super inefficient. We understand their stuff when they come in. We're
Yes.
way ahead of the game. So it's the efficiency created by specialization and expertise that allows us to do what we do.
Yeah. And now it's an inexpensive benefit that employers can take advantage of for the benefit of their employees. Well,
So
this was a wonderful conversation. I hope more employers would consider looking into a program like this, specifically our program, for their employees, because it's really making a difference in the quality of life of their employees, which would directly impact employers. Until next time, take care.
thanks, Leah.
Thank you.